Go. The defence in the first half was as good as I've seen from any Rovers side, and the cynic in me was just expecting them to crack, as they always do. But it didn't happen. All three tries were also well worked, with Lewis and Taka producing great moments of skill. The Mark Twitter meltdown was good too, winky face.
So were you able to be at this game?
Yes. Like Matt, like Jen, I was...
Sing on the good bit. What was that like?
To be back in the stadium,
yeah,
it was great. It was very smooth and felt safe and organised and stuff. Considering it was the first game back with fans there, there's gonna be some teething problems or whatever. And plus, when you're dealing with the world that we're in now, where you've got some people who think everyone's a fucking idiot if they're wearing a mask, and then some people who are terrified if they see someone not wearing a mask. And the stewards have to deal with both ends of that spectrum constantly and stuff. I think the game went off pretty well from that side of things. I thought it was all well managed. Nothing was too overbearing, but at a similar time there was reminders in place for doing the right things and making sure the club retains its safety certificates and doesn't get anyone losing the capacity so someone can't go to a game. So all that side of it was good. It was great to sing some songs again. Are we allowed to do that? I did that anyway. It was nice to finally be in a stadium to shout, "That's fucking six again, ref! Fucking six again, ref!" Because I've never been able to do that before.
No, you won't have done.
No. And that sort of side of it was good, but the performance from Wigan was terrible. Which way round do you want me to do it, Tim?
You get it all out your system first, and then you can,
Well, I mostly got it out of my system on Saturday morning on a long Twitter thread because I just couldn't carry it with me through the rest of the weekend. But Wigan were really poor in attack. Hastings was moved to fullback, but still wanted to dominate the play, so was still getting himself on the ball as much as he would when he was at halfback. Which what that meant is any other passing player didn't have running options out the back. You didn't have a situation where you had a dummy running second rower with a fullback out the back at all. That just didn't exist in this game for Wigan because of how they were set up. Now, I'm not blaming Hastings for that. I'm blaming Lamb for that. I think Lamb set up the team, made his choices on the team selection, clearly didn't give them a plan B when it went wrong. A couple of players in the last 20 minutes decided to take it upon themselves to play a plan B, and that started from two young forwards, Joe Shorrocks and Kai Pearce-Paul, who started... Shorrock started passing close to the line to other forwards, let's try something, and KPP started throwing some offloads. Wigan's execution was poor and scratchy, scored two really nice tries, but way too late into the game. The key period in this game for Hull KR fans will be the period where they clung on. In the back end of the first half, they just gave away six again after six again, and then a couple of penalties, giving Hicks no choice but to send a man to the sin bin. From the period where Brad Takarangi took John Bateman high in about the 25th minute through to half time, Hull KR's discipline in terms of six agains and penalties wasn't very good, but their resilience off the back of that and their discipline in terms of their defensive positioning and defensive reads was brilliant. Wigan weren't throwing much at them because there was no men in motion or anything like that, but Hull KR defended that period absolutely brilliantly and then got up the other field and squeezed in for a try after some poor defensive reads out on what was the golden edge by Gildart and Marshall in their first game back. Two players who made a couple of mistakes when Wigan had opportunities for tries, but on the flip side did score and create the two good tries that Wigan scored. I was thoroughly disappointed, and Lamb should be under fire for the way that team went out and performed, because he's responsible for the selection and for not having an option to change it up. But Hull KR have to be absolutely delighted with what they did there. You should be really proud of your team, Tim.
Yeah, I am. I think this is where it's starting to get where things are sort of start to come together. Tony Smith has really pulled the right things together at the right time, and he's starting to gel aside. It's keeping this together is going to be key, and keeping this momentum. But the last 6 weeks have been quite an upward trajectory, and I'll be honest, I didn't see it coming. I saw us being in the bottom. But
the
there we
real
go.
positive for you on that sort of keeping it going like angle is Jordan Abdul was out for this game, and Mikey Lewis came back in, and he was good. He wasn't spectacular, but he put on the match-winning play, a great piece of play, the set-piece play that he'd worked on obviously with Adam Quinlan, and they wouldn't have had much time to work on it. Taking advantage of the fact that the fullback wasn't a normal fullback, it was part of it, but it was perfectly timed, perfectly played. The little kick back inside for Quinlan to score, and so things like that should make you feel definitely positive that the momentum can continue to some extent here. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's that minty green shirt. It's just something extra, isn't it?
Not for me. Anyway,
should we move on? Put you out of misery.
Albert Vete
Yep.
has got like the wobbliest arse in Super League when they walk, because they were under our stand, the Hull KR players, because of the putting them in different dressing room areas, stuff that's going on still.
First, Mark Calderwood.
No, honestly, for the start of the second half, he came out from underneath the stand, and we were closer towards the corner than we normally are, just because of organising the seats for socially distanced or whatever, and I was late on it. And he walks out from under the stand and walks across the touching goal line to go and take his place up because we were kicking off, and all you could just see as he was walking was his arse just wobbling gently from one side to another, from one side to the other. It was you didn't want to look at it, but you couldn't take your eyes off it, and yeah, so there you have it. That was my last comment on this game.
There we go. That's your abiding memory of Vete's arse.
Let's move on to an even more controversial game.
Move on to a game of where no one knows really who's who. Huddersfield 8, Salford 9, having been at 2-8 at half-time. Scott Mickey Mouse Cast was your referee. And in terms of statistics, this game had the most marker tackles and most metres of any game in Super League so far this year. Huddersfield made more metres, 1,702 in total, 152 more than Salford, 1 metre per carry better average gain, also 3.6% better team tackle success rate, but both sides only made 1 break each and scored 1 try apiece. For your winning Salford side, Andy Ackers making a try and 51 tackles. Dan Sargentson, despite being on the pitch a bit longer than he possibly should have been, making 207 metres. Jack Wells running for 159 metres, and Ken Seo 136 metres. For the losing Huddersfield Giants, Leroy Cudjoe 205 metres, Ash Goulding 56 tackles, 21 marker tackles, 21 marker tackles. That's ridiculous.
56 tackles from a man who started the game at fullback. I had to message a Huddersfield fan, Mark W, to say, how's this right? Is this even right? Am I to trust these stats? And he said, yeah, because he had to move to hooker when Salford knocked everyone else out.
And he also went forward for 108 metres, so he did go both ways. Luke Yates, 53 tackles, 10 marker tackles, 119 metres, and Mike Lawrence, the machine, slightly under machine levels of only 48 tackles, 11 from marker and 106 metres, so still going both ways.
Yeah, quite a lot of both ways there. You said maybe on the pitch for longer than he should have been. Definitely on the pitch for longer than he should have been. And Dan Sargentson has received a grade C high tackle charge. That's a 3-match penalty notice for him because it's not his first high tackle charge of the year. Greg Burke also got a grade B high tackle, which carries a 1-match penalty notice for himself. So, you know, they kept the stat counters busy and the match review panel busy. Did the sides in this game. One fan view. Tom Andrews said, watches red card video, gets confused at who gets sent off, repeats 5 times, notices who the ref was, all is explained. Well, you'd think as well, where the incident happened was right close to the goal line. So you've got the referee, you've got the in-goal judge, you've got the 2 touch judges, you've got 4 match officials there who should have been able to get that right.
You'd expect between them. And isn't that one where they can stop things and you...
Well, it was being aired, wasn't it, on our league? So there was footage they could go to fairly quickly after it, yeah. You would have thought. Especially because Adam O'Brien would have been down for some time getting treatment. Because he went off, didn't he? He didn't come back into the game. He left the game with a concussion at the same time as James Greenwood was... But I think one of the Salford players told him to stop arguing because they didn't want Sargentson to go off. Because Sargentson can cover 2 players with the amount of effort and enthusiasm he puts in. It's just he's misdirected that a few times recently.
Yeah, have you seen the way League Express very pointedly used a photo which very clearly showed exactly who it was?
Yeah. Although on that photo, actually, O'Brien's on his knees almost on the floor, isn't he? So, but I'm guessing that's just after the first impact.
Yeah, I think so. It looks like it's 2 frames behind.
Sargentson's coming so hard and so fast that he's gone through him, hasn't he? And then when the refs have kind of come to pick the pieces out of it, because James Greenwood's been on top of him, I think they've just misunderstood who it was who did the tackle.
Yeah, I mean, you watch the video, but it just doesn't look good at all. And to me, it looked quite obvious, but I suppose that's from a camera position, however far back and however long afterwards.
Watching it in the context of knowing that that's what we're looking for as well, because we'd seen we'll have, I don't know about you, but I'd certainly seen the after the match press conference comments before I'd seen the incident. But even so, so I can't say for certain that I would have seen it the same way if I'd have seen it straight away. But surely you feel like you probably would have seen it that way still. So it's remarkable. Do you think fundamentally that is what will have led to Salford being able to cling on and win this game, keeping one of their best players on the pitch rather than one of their just normal players on the pitch? Or do you think it's quite shocking, COVID interruptions or whatever other excuses you want to put into the mix, that a Huddersfield Giants side that had Ash Golding, Jermaine McGilvery, Ricky Latelli, Jake Wardle, Leroy Cudjoe, Jack Conacher, Lee Gaskell, Luke Yates, Adam O'Brien, Oliver Wilson, Kenny Edwards, Joe Greenwood and Josh Jones could not score more than 1 try against a side that had 12 men for 50 minutes?
Well, yeah, I think that's probably your answer, isn't it? I think the narrative of, Sargentson is probably their best player at the moment. He's going to have an impact, but equally he is one guy against, another few, and he's they had enough chances.
I mean, I know O'Brien and I think Cogger got pulled out of the game injured, didn't they? But still. Yeah, Cogger went off early doors. But that brought Caesar onto the pitch, and there was Michael Lawrence and Joe Wardle on the bench as well. Yes, the referees fucked it up, but Salford, to still win this game is massive for them, and for Huddersfield it must be a big blow to what they're doing with the ball, that they did nothing with the ball.
Yeah, exactly. They had, there's enough, as I said, enough chances in there. They should have got something from it. But I think again, it's very easy to blame the referees. But then I suppose if you look at it at full speed, and it was clear they had to send someone off. Though these things happen, unfortunately. But I think the criticism and the comments from Watson are probably a little too harsh, and it's something that he's going to reach for.
Yeah, the criticism's fair, isn't it? But the fact that you're pinning everything on the result on that is stupid.